Hello, 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 hello. What's going on? What's going on? I hope we are alive. So I'm gonna wait until some people are cruising in. In the meantime, as usual, I think we're gonna talk about the week, right? Something is jumping around here with the live timing. Actually, that's interesting. Jumped from 25 seconds back to 10 seconds. Now it's counting normally. Okay, so let's go over the week. We've got here the beautiful regimen. What happened during this week? It was just an event-rich week, we could call it. Now, first of all, I should say, of course, very important achievement unlocked. We got the first 8A plus going down on the home wall up there. Significantly harder than the 8A from last week. So yeah, on the home wall grading, I would say this deserves 8A plus. I spent like how many sessions? It's always hard to grade stuff from scratch, so to say. If you have nothing to compare it from, what I'm basically doing is simply compare it to stuff that I already climbed outdoors. And yeah, for the 8A, for example, the outdoor 8A that I posted recently, I needed like 1 hour in total of projecting, right? Half an hour one session, half an hour another session. And for this 8A, I needed, I don't know, like 3-4 sessions or something. And for the 8A plus, I think I needed even 6 sessions or something or more. Yeah. So, the first people cruising in here. Jean Ramses says, "Hi, what's up, man? Welcome back to the stream. Happy 4th Advent." As you can see, I went into some effort, man, to make it a little cozy today. Here we've got four Advent candles lighting down there in the back, and one beautiful bigger candle up there. We're gonna have to kill the Advent candles a little bit later, because we have to save some for ourselves, for our beautiful dinners here. But now, for the beginning of the stream, to be to have the proper airing, the proper mood, Advent mood, we're gonna light the candles. But anyway, first 8A plus, I think for the Yankee Doodles, that's V12. V12 going down on the home wall, yeah, this week. Amazing home wall session, man. And actually, I did another boulder, which is a harder version of the 8A that I already did. So you could already grade it by that also, 8A plus, right? But I'm not sure. Maybe it's only 8A slash plus. Yeah. The other thing is for sure 8A plus, because it's also my anti-style, and I had to fight really hard for this one. So anyway, that's what's going on the home wall. Actually, we also had one outdoor bouldering session, which was not bad, I must say. The weather is, damn. The weather is it stays worse. It stays bad, I should say. Super moist, super cold all the time. Again, coldness in the winter, I mean, we all know that wouldn't be that much of a problem. The problem is when it's getting moist at the same time, moist and cold. That doesn't really give you a lot of grip. It also makes the perceived temperature a lot lower, actually. And it's a lot harder to get into the flow like that. So yeah, I really hate climbing outdoors when it's these conditions. I'm so happy, so glad that I have the home wall now. But I get a little bit less outdoor climbing in these days than I would like to get in. But I'm going to try my best. David Hanser says, "Hi, what's up, man?" Lycanthrope is back on the stream. What's up, man? How are you doing? Guys, give me some feedback if you can. How's the video doing? How's the audio quality doing? Would be interesting for me to hear how everything is performing these days. Then we had a hangboard session. Again, not breaking my personal best during this hangboard session. Freaking. Maybe I have to change something up. Yeah? Maybe I have to change something up real soon when it comes to my hangboard regimen. I don't know. I feel like finger strength wise, I'm still progressing on the home wall. Maybe I'm still getting used to the holds a little bit more a little bit better every session, but on the hangboard I feel like I'm plateauing for the last couple, like 2 weeks at least. Yeah, and if that's gonna go on for a lot longer, then I might have to change something up, maybe going more into the direction of repeaters or something along these lines, because I'm not injured at all. I can definitely feel that I should, if I can't push myself in that direction anymore, then I at least have to push myself into another direction with the fingers there. Yeah. So yeah, that's what's up when it comes to the training, man. Home wall sessions went excellent as usual. Hangboard session, mediocre, not bad, but not particularly well. And today we had a small little core session, which went actually pretty good as well. A couple of handstand push-ups, few planche attempts, a couple of front levers, and that's it. These days I'm not doing much more core than once a week actually, and also there like not longer than 40-50 minutes or something, because I don't want to bulk up too much. I have the feeling that these calisthenics, if I do too much of that stuff like 2 times a week and stuff, I get really heavy. I put on like this upper body musculature that I don't really need. I only want to have it in my forearms, right? So yeah, at least at the moment that's the case. And I'm still lacking, actually, as you can see, I still lack one cardio session. Unfortunately, we missed one hangboard session that week. Yeah, time was short. I had to do a lot of video work actually this week. Making videos was kind of an effort this week, but I think it paid off. And here I didn't cross off this one yet because this is going to be an evening run that's going to take place after this live stream. So that's going to be cool as well. Yeah, that's what's up when it comes to training. Also, in terms of hold making, I made a couple of these spruce pole holds again. Actually, 10, 8 of which I already mounted. I don't know, man. I just like these holds so much. Can you see the form, the shape these guys have? It's just so amazing. It's basically a pole sanded down on one side and sanded down on the other side, and this makes for these very, very rounded edges. And I don't know, man. I feel like you have to hold them so actively. As I said in the recent video of mine, these are the kind of holds that I want to go for when it comes to setting the home wall. And yeah, they are gonna go on as well. I think in two spots where, at the very right upper of the right corner and at the very left upper of the left corner, to have some signature holds to really jump to really make big moves to, because I already have two edges in that positions, but they are quite inside of the board and you don't have to go to really max reach to reach them. Yeah? These are gonna go at the very, very outer portion of the wall. Guys, do me a favor and drop a like on the stream if you are here. That would be cool. I always forget to mention that. Maybe the stream gets a little bit more traction, a little bit more people gonna see it. That would be very appreciated. And look at these. This is another thing that I've been experimenting during this week with. I cannot really mount them at this point in time because I sank down, I dropped down the screw head dropping so deep that I can't really get with my tools into them anymore. So yeah, I have to figure something out there. But that's gonna be a cool experiment, I thought. I found these wooden balls, just like I do it for the footholds, but these are significantly bigger. I think these are 50 millimeters in diameter. And I thought, what about maybe that's possible to pinch those, right? And you can also take them as an undercling. You can take them as a side pull, as an upper pull. The only thing that I'm kind of worried about is that maybe they are really prone to get crimped, full crimped, because it's quite a small surface area there, and you really want to point your fingers in there. So maybe you tend to full crimp them all the time. If that's the case, then I'm gonna not set them, or I'm gonna unset them again. But I definitely need to try those out. That's gonna be interesting too. So that's what's up when it's coming to the hold shapes. Yeah. Here we've got a beautiful live stream receptacle. this time we're rocking something special here. Okay, this is I don't know if you can see that. This is actually a Paulana mass. So that's 1 liter of fluid there, right? Is it 1 liter? Is it 2 liters? What's a mass? I think it's a lot. This cup says 1 liter. Yeah, I think that fits in. That should fit in there. This is what they use in the, what's it called? The Oktober Fest. Of course, Oktober Fest. In Munich, right? When it's getting October again, they put a lot of tents, into on a meadow, the Wiesen as they call it, and then they use this stuff. Some Oktoberfest nostalgia, says Scab. I've been there only once for about 10 minutes, okay? Because I wanted to see it. And when I was there when I came back down from my Norway trip. Okay, when I was in Norway, I made videos there already. Maybe you've seen the looking into Odin's eye, for example, this kind of video, or some uncut descents from Germany and all that kind of stuff. When I was there and I came back down again, I decided to not go over the Czech Republic, which is through that country, through that route I traveled to the north. But when I was coming back down again, I decided to visit my grandmother, actually, who lives in Salzburg. Yeah. And at the time, the Oktoberfest was running, and I was never on the Oktoberfest before. I had never seen it before. So what did I do? Well, I head into Munich, into the craziest traffic jam that you can imagine, man, with my little caddy bro and the bed in the back, got there, and then there was this super fancy neighborhood, right? It was kind of this old style buildings, like really high, and a couple of flats in there. 1,000 signs, down there on the road. Parking forbidden, no parking here, only for visitors, not visitors, but only for, residents, only for people who live there, actually. Everything else is forbidden. And there was this one little spot, right, which was free. And if I could only park there, I would be able to jump out of the car and I would be on the Oktoberfest, which is only 20 meters from there, right? So me thinking, okay, I can now try to find another parking spot and go maybe 1 hour around the Oktoberfest until I find something, or I just illegally put my car there. So what am I doing? Of course, I put my car there, jumping out of the car, running into the Oktoberfest, which was kind of a hustle because there's actually a lot of, there was actually a lot of, what's it called? Anstellschlange, right? There were a lot of people waiting to get actually into the Oktoberfest. So yeah, I was kind of in the stress, trying to sneak my way through there, being in the Oktoberfest, running around, jumping around for like 5 minutes to see everything. Okay, it's huge tents everywhere, probably in there. There's the people drinking beer and all that stuff. But I'm not really into that kind of stuff. I was really just there to see what it's all about. And then 5 minutes later, I hopped back out again and jumped into my car again and drove off in the direction of Salzburg and visited my grandmother, actually. So yeah, that were pretty cool times. But yeah, that was the Oktoberfest experience, and I did not get this mass from the actual Oktoberfest. I saw this at a kind of a nostalgia, what's it called, a nostalgia store, where they sell old kind of stuff, from people who kind of left their house, or they sold their stuff in their flat and stuff like that, and then they resell it in that kind of store. And there I saw it for maybe 50 cents or something. And I thought, that would make for a cool live stream receptacle. So I got it, picked it up, and now we're here. Gotta say, the water tastes pretty good out of that mass. Scap says more than I can remember being there. So what's up with you guys, huh? What's going on in your life? I'm really running out of stuff to say here. And I don't know. I think the development with the little one is going really well. This week we surpassed, actually yesterday, we surpassed the 19th of December, which marks the 5 months of age of the little one. I mean, can you imagine? Can you imagine how time flies by? The little one is already almost half a year old, right? That's crazy. And it's first Christmas. Christmas is coming up really soon, right? So that's crazy as well, man. Yeah, time really flies by. Also now, when editing this video, this recent video of mine with full crimping versus half crimping stuff, I used a little bit of a picture-in-picture of another old video of mine where I was training on the on the old 45er of the old bouldering gym that I trained in Vienna, and yeah, that was almost 5 years ago. So yeah, it's crazy to see that I already did YouTube videos actually already 5 years ago, and I changed quite a bit in body morphology and stuff like that. I was super lean. I moved like a little. I jumped around on that wall. It looked pretty smooth actually. On that home wall, I move a lot slower. I have the feeling, but that's only because the holes have to be hit a lot more accurately, man, than compared to this old 45er there, right? So yeah, that's what's going on, man. Time really flies by, and yeah, the little one already starts to crawl around now. It's it's like she's turning really quickly already to the sides and everything, and when you put her down, with the face to the front, she's instantly, pushing herself away with the four extremities and starts to crawl around. And then at some point, she's lying down and lays on the belly, and then she can't really move anymore. She can push herself up again, but then she only crawls backwards, because every time she pushes herself up, she also pushes herself a little bit to the back. So that's quite funny to see. She actually wants to get to the front. It's funny with these children, they don't really have any incentive, any motivation to go forward. Why should they, right? They are happy at the spot, on the spot. If they have some kind of toys to play around with or stuff, you have to actually take toys and put them in front of them, a little bit away from them, so that they have motivation to go forward, actually. Because I bet she already has enough strength to crawl around, yeah? When she pushes with her legs, when you hold her and stuff, it's amazing what kind of strength, and that's strength divided by body weight is crazy high in these individuals, in these small little babies. Yeah, so they have the power to crawl around. Actually, they lack the motivation and they lack the coordination. Yeah, big time. So they can only move around, wiggle around really, but nothing really coordinated, nothing so that they can actually get some movement done. Yeah, some movement in the room. Yeah, but I think it's only days away from now that she will crawl to the front, and actually in a really coordinated manner. So that's going to be interesting as well. Then we have to refurniture the room here quite a bit, because we don't want her to get to specific stuff which is now still in reach, which we should get out of reach, right? Okay, guys. So I think we're done with the intro mood here. I'm gonna just unlight the candles of the Adventkranz here in the back, so that we can save some for later. And then I'm gonna answer probably the first few questions here. Yes, we got a few questions there. Maybe we answer something. I also have no problem with going very, very short today. If not a lot of questions come in, then I'm gonna keep this fourth Advent here in the privacy of my family, right? But if there's questions to answer, we're gonna have some Manny's Advent special. Wait a second. After all, I also don't want to burn down the house here. Okay, so that one stays. The one in the back. Jacob says, maybe bad timing, as there is a Lattice live stream as well at the moment. Okay, I didn't know that. That could of course be of course be that people are occupied by the Lattice Boyz. Well, then I'm actually happy that I get even 15 viewers here. So let's see, is cup. But there we go. Is there a point to doing repeater right after you done max hangs, or is it pointless since you can't give max effort anymore anyway? I wouldn't do it. I would never do 2 hangboard sessions back to back. If I do 1 hangboard session, especially 1 max hangboard session, then everything that you're gonna do after that is gonna suffer in quality, obviously, because you don't have access to your max power anymore. Of course, your repeater performance is gonna be below what you were used to, and also below what you would actually need in terms of training intensity to progress. And then it's not beneficial to train at all, and it would be a lot more beneficial to actually do a rest day. Then it would be a lot more beneficial to actually do a rest day, and thereby, you know, recovering sooner, recovering earlier, and being able to get the next high quality session in sooner. In the long run, this is gonna yield the most progression, in my opinion. And Jordan Heller says, any tips for knee bars? I can't get a hold of any knee pads and my knees are in a lot of pain. Yeah, if you don't have knee pads, I mean, then it's getting really hard. Then it's getting tough. What I can say is that a lot of knee bars are deeper, quote unquote, than you think at first. I mean, I'm definitely not a knee bar specialist. I actually avoid knee bars and all sorts of, crazy shakeout rests which interrupt my flow on a longer climbing route. I usually don't like that stuff too much. But in terms of knee bars, what I found, especially in Greece, this is often the case when you knee bar on tufas and stuff. A lot of knee bars are deeper than you think. So don't knee bar at the very outer edge of the prominent, the obvious edge that you see from the outside, right? Actually try to stick your knee in more and more and more and more and more, as deep as it really gets. And maybe if you're lucky, then you find a spot where this ledge really gets a lot joggier than it is on the outside, and then you're really locked in almost from alone, and you can let go of your hands completely. But of course, I mean, without a knee pad, it's going to be always painful. If the edge is somewhat sharp and you don't have somewhat thick trouser on, right, it's going to be always somewhat sharp. And all right, guys, so you're telling me that Lattice Boyz are doing a live stream at the moment. Let's check into those Lattice Boyz. It's actually good timing for a little experiment. Can I run a live stream and watch a live stream at the same time? Let me see. Lattice training. Ask Lattice YouTube edition. Let's see. You know what we could do? We could watch Lattice live stream and then we do commentary on Lattice live stream. But that would be a little bit bold, huh? What do you think? Mm-hmm. Okay, I think they are actually talking about calisthenics and stuff like that, and hangboarding. I'm not so sure about that. I think they are answering the question on whether what is the reason that the modern guys, so to say, are so much stronger than the old school climbers. And he mentioned calisthenics and fingerboarding. Not so sure, man. I think that what's happening nowadays is a lot better genetic selection from a lot larger pool of people. Plus, people start a lot earlier. But usually, people don't hangboard when they're 10 or 15 or 20. The hangboard dudes are in their mid 20s, late 20s or something, and really want to push the limit and see where the limit is. When what they should have done instead is start earlier with just normal climbing and really going at it from a young age. This is what makes the difference. I don't think that people started as early simply as they do now. And of course, they are guided a lot better, but I'm not sure if all that calisthenic stuff actually really does something to your climbing performance in the end, right? It's what really gives you the edge when it comes to the pros is finger strength divided by body weight. And this is something that is highly genetically dependent. We can choose from a lot bigger pool of people nowadays. Climbing is a lot more popular than it was just 10, 20 years ago. And that's why we see crazy higher performance today than we see 10, 20 years ago. And in terms of why we didn't have the crazy grades, back then, it was just simply because people did not attack the overhangs. Yeah, and people had a lot different climbing styles. People attacked slabs, and that they looked at everything that was overhanging and thought that's completely impossible. Well, now we know that overhangs are perfectly climbable as well, right? So yeah, so much of a comment to comment the recent live stream on the Lattice Boyz. In the meantime, I'm getting actually some questions here on my live stream as well. What's up? Jean says, do you think it's dangerous to jump in a mono? Yes, it is. Yes, it is, definitely. Unless you're a freak mono strength, a crazy mono strength freak, so to say, it is definitely. I would not do it. I would not like it too much. But I think there is actually routes like that. Go to the Frankenjura. I think there is a route called Hole in One, right? Which has something like this. I saw a video of a friend of Ondra one-arming a ruler. Okay. Not bad. David Hanser says, what do you think is the smallest edge which humans can hang? I think it's somewhere around 3.5. Yeah, man. These are difficult questions, man. That also depends on the amount of callus that you can build up actually on your fingertips, right? As I said previously, really, really, really small edges, it is rather a thing of, have you hardened up your fingertips so much enough so that you can actually get the pressure onto your fingertips, without just simply razoring your fingernails off or stuff like that. Yeah, it's not really so much about the finger strength anymore, in my opinion. It's rather like a Shaolin monk who punches into some bags to harden his knuckles, right? That's what we do with our fingertips by hanging these super small edges. Not so much about the finger strength, actually. But yeah, we can go really low. We know we can go to 4 mil because some people actually have hung 4 mil. I don't know if 3 mil is possible. Maybe. Who knows, yeah? I never tried it. The smallest edge that I have on my hangboard is 5 mil. Yeah. 5 mil is definitely enough for me personally. I don't feel the need to go smaller. Okay, we have to be a little bit. Okay, now we can talk again. Mona just came out from putting the little one to bed. Yeah, the Lattice Boyz are streaming as well now, huh? It's climbers from the UK. Yeah. So now there is only half the traffic of usual on the stream, or even less actually. I already checked into the Lattice stream once to see what they're talking about. Moko727 says something non-climbing related. Your thoughts on the, in my eyes, ongoing disruption and demoralization of Western society and what it will lead to. Wow, that's a good question. Yeah, it's definitely an interesting situation here. Definitely an interesting situation. Uh, okay, so let me just preface this by saying this is a huge topic, man. This is a huge topic. I wouldn't even know where to begin with. Yeah, what to begin with. What I can only say is that, man, stay skeptic. Okay, stay skeptic. Use common sense. Never throw away your common sense. Okay, despite what mainstream media is, propagandizing, despite what the experts is propagandizing, despite what politicians is propagandizing. Okay, keep your common sense, um, and trust your instinct. Usually the instinct of people is not so bad. Yeah, trust your gut really on this kind of issue. What I would say is, if we were in such a desperate situation as they like to make us believe, then why aren't the streets empty? Why is not people dropping dead outside? Where are all the dead people? Yeah, I mean, still I don't know anybody personally. Yeah, it's yeah, this is such a big topic, man. Something non, thoughts on the man's ongoing disruption, demoralization. The demoralization, I don't know, man. Are you demoralized? I have the feeling that, again, usually when people talk about this kind of stuff, and they perpetuate this perception that we live in the worst times ever, right? Oh my god, everything is so bad. Look at this. We have worse food than we had. We have worse political systems. We have worse connectivity inside of society, right? The society is split apart. The society is divided. We have less team building when it comes to stuff, right? We are only going against each other. There's so many problems really nowadays. You could also say you could also view it from another perspective and try to think about it like, okay, it's as challenging and possibly even as interesting as it has never been before in human history. Yeah, there's no doubt about it. All these things are true. Yeah, we are living in challenging times. It's definitely not getting easier. Okay, you have to use your brain more than ever. If you don't want to step into all of these traps that are set up for you nowadays, and there are a lot of traps set up for you, you will have to use your brain, and really, people get selected really toughly these days. Yeah, I've stepped into a lot of these traps myself. Okay, one of these traps is very nutrition related. Yeah, the mainstream is propagandizing nonstop how bad meat is, how bad animal products are, yada yada yada. When in fact, uh, this is not true at all. Yeah, this is not true at all. Whether something is bad for you or not depends on your type. It depends on your gut flora. It depends on a lot of things. Yeah, you can do very well on an omnivore diet. You can do even very well on a carnivore diet. Okay, excluding all the vegetables which are presumably so super healthy, excluding all the fruit which are presumably so super healthy. There's people out there doing very well on this kind of stuff. Yeah, there's also people out there who are doing very well on an omnivore diet, which is why I tend to say that if you have the guts, yeah, if you have the guts to digest it, there's no problem with that. What I see though is that people do significantly less well on something like a vegan diet. At least those people who really follow through it 100%. what these people are doing is basically they are emaciating themselves and they get thinner and thinner, which gives them maybe more performance in their sport. Maybe they do running, cycling, climbing, whatever they are doing, something weight dependent, obviously. And when they get thinner and thinner, and I was on this lifestyle myself, I know its effects, then you get this perception that, wow, I'm getting better and better at my sport. Whereas in fact, you're just getting lighter and lighter. And at some point, you are going to run into problems. You're going to run into deficiency issues with that kind of stuff. Yeah. So, yeah, bottom line, use your brain, trust your guts, okay? Trust your body. Your body is equipped with a number of really helping instincts. They can also run you into traps, for example, with potato chips. I've talked about this as well. Your instinct tells you that potato chips are just amazing. They give you an instant, pleasure kick, give you an instant dopamine hit. But they are probably some of the most toxic foods that you can eat nowadays. Yeah, so this is something where they try to catch you with your instinct. So there you have to use your brain as well. Yeah, so it's tricky. Yeah. But I wouldn't say it's demoralizing. I wouldn't also say that it's bad times. In fact, humans live a more comfortable life than ever before in the Western world. And this is just how it is. Good times breed bad people, and bad times breed good people, right? And then the good times the good people, of course, create good times, which creates bad people, which creates bad times, which creates good people again. And then this fluctuates all the time throughout human history, right? And then we need our wars again, and then we need our bad times, the famine, and all that kind of stuff, bad political systems, hardcore dictatorship, whatnot, so that people really starve to death again. And then out of these bad times, the good people can emerge again. And this is how it fluctuates into all eternity. And we are actually coming out at this point in time out of a very, very good time period. Yeah, we got to realize that we're probably steering towards something that is a lot worse. That is a lot worse than what we are accustomed at the moment. Yeah, because we have internet, we're sitting in front of laptops, talking to a lot of people, drinking water from the tap, getting our food super comfortably in the supermarket and whatnot. Yeah, this is good times. This is comfortable. And we're steering towards bad times, definitely. So prepare and use your brain. Yeah. And Jackie Wong says, hello Manny, speaking of Shaolin, have you ever heard of Shi De Jian, the master monk who live in a small community up on the mountain? I think I've seen a video or something like that. I think the guy is still super flexible. It's pretty old already, but he's super flexible. They grow their own food and medicine, carries resources every day through thousands of steps as a practice. Yeah, I mean, of course, all this stuff is impressive, right? All this stuff is very impressive, and I'm pretty sure that a kind of limited amount of work, of day-to-day work, is actually something that's healthy and keeps your joints going, keeps your muscles going, and keeps you in the mode, keeps you in the flow, helps you staying alive, because you have a purpose. You want to get those resources from A to B, for example. That's your life purpose in this situation, right? And that's having a purpose like that is really important, especially as you get older and you're kind of dropping out of the being of use for society mode. At some point, if you're getting older and older, you just become a burden for society, right? And then they have to pay your pensions and whatnot, and you're a burden for society, and that's not a good thing. This is not a good thing for any psyche. You want to be of use, you want to do something. So having that work, having a small little garden where you can dig around and grow food, for example, or carry around resources and stuff like that is a good thing. However, I don't think that it's super healthy to exercise like crazy until you're super old, and even if you're super old, okay? Again, as I said, I'm not even sure whether you actually need exercise at all to be as healthy as you can get. Yeah, this is something that is much rather dependent on your food and your other lifestyle. Exercise is rather something that costs calories, that leads you to needing to eat more. And if you need to eat more, you're going to have more cell turnover, more energy, turnover, more enzyme turnover. And in the end, if you exercise much more than you need to for your day-to-day, life things that you have to do, then you're gonna take off some lifetime of you, yeah, because you need to do these more cell divisions, you need to do this more recovery time and stuff like that. You need to eat those more calories, if that makes sense. Yeah, it sounds contradicting, it's kind of contra-intuitive. That's what I want to say. Because again, the mainstream propagates, yeah, sports, super healthy. Look at this elite athlete. Look at that elite athlete. Now, they don't tell you that all of these elite athletes are breaking down and getting severely injured in their mid 30s and stuff like that. Yeah, they just retire at some point in their early 30s, out of the blue. Very often, you don't really know why, but it's probably in the end because they have some chronic health issue which they want to deal with finally, and then they have to step back from their sport. Yeah, so then they retire, and then they have to get rid of this stuff, yeah, whatever they may have. So especially elite sports, God bless you, especially elite sports like these, they are not really healthy. Yeah, they are just taking off life expectancy. But yeah, I'm pretty sure this dude is super fit and strong. I've seen videos of his flexibility. The flexibility looks pretty good. Shoram says, here's the video I was talking about. Adam Ondra, really impressive. Okay, I guess that's the one armor on a ruler, huh? Let me just try to look it up here real quickly. Let's see. Adam is trying a one finger pull up. Yeah, okay, I think. Okay. Let me see. I don't know. I did a one finger pull up with a sling myself, and I must say there is not really a lot of a difference between doing a one armor on a bar on a jog like this, or doing a one armor on a sling. Yeah. So I don't know what they are using here to make a one armor with, so to say. Okay, they have these monos on this board. That looks quite painful, actually. Really, it's a pain issue. Yeah, also on a sling, because the sling has a very, very little surface, and there comes a lot of pressure onto your skin. And if you're willing to pull through that pressure, to pull through that pain, then you can actually pull it, if you can pull it in general, obviously. Yeah. But cool, yeah. Nice vid. I'm gonna check it out afterwards. Milo Bernal, if we know bad times are coming, can't we use this foresight to change our course? Okay, so do you know how I can tell you that although we know bad times are coming, we cannot change our course? Why? The amount of people who at this point know that bad times are coming is actually immense. Okay, a lot of people out there have a bad feeling about what's coming. Many have their doubts, and they are, in the meantime, they are skeptics, right? If you listen to the mainstream and stuff, they will always tell you that this group of deplorables, or however you want to call them, right, is actually really small, and they are negligible. They don't really matter. Yada yada yada. Go get your vaccine. Go do your testing. Da 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 da. This is, of course, because they try to downplay this movement. Yeah, they try to demoralize the movement by making you, who listens to this news, feel like you're alone, which you are not. Okay, you are in fact already the majority. You are already the majority. And if the majority knows that something is coming up, but still is too weak and too not self-confident enough and too unable to organize itself and trying to collectively do something against that, then bad times are unavoidable. Okay, it's just unavoidable. This is exactly what is this is exactly the situation that you always see before bad times. The majority already knows what's up, but because of not enough self-confidence and whatnot, lack of ability to organize and all of this, they are kept in check, so to say. They are kept in their echo chambers. They want you to watch your alternative news on YouTube, on the alt tech or wherever you get it. That's where you can let off that steam, so to say, right? In your little echo chamber bubble, you can let off that steam in terms of, oh, it's crazy, whatnot, election fraud, global warming is fake pandemic, whatever. There you can let off your steam. But then in the real world, what are you doing? You still follow the rules, right? You still follow everything that they put down on you. You still follow all the regulations. You don't want to stick out of the crowd, right? Everybody just wants to follow regulations. And without you knowing, your neighbor who's also following just those regulations thinks in his head also like you, right? He's also skeptic and he's also thinking, in fact, this is all a little crazy, but I'm just gonna go roll with it for now because I don't want to stick out of the crowd. And in fact, the collective, or let's say the majority, is already in that kind of psychic mode, right? In that mentality. But because of a lack of balls in the end, right, and of a lack of ability to organize, to talk to each other, and all that, because it's also illegalized everything, right? Yeah, the ability to to gather and talk about this stuff, to have a referendum about this kind of stuff, to collectively think about this stuff and discuss it, it's not allowed, right? So you would have to break a law already to do that. It's hard. It's hard to snap out of this, yeah. But in fact, these people are already in the majority. Yeah, you can see these when you carefully take a look around into the internet and stuff. These people are already the majority. Yeah, but it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter who's the majority and who's the minority if nothing gets executed anyway. Yeah. So we're gonna see where this is heading. And there is actually a good saying which goes something like this. Uh, you know, if you agree with something to if you agree with someone that you believe something which you know in your heart is not true, then you know that they have you by the balls, right? Or something along these lines. It's very, very simple, but yeah, I forgot how the exact wording was, but in the end, this is the message. Sean Ramses says he does it on a ruler later and with the pinky. Okay. With the pinky is that's freaking impressive. Okay. I did it with the middle finger and that was very hard. I mean, very hard. It was possible for me, but yeah, it was quite painful. But there, Adam Ondra can actually do it, huh? On this kind of mono thing. The question is how much is it really worth, right? I'm more impressed these days if people do one armors on freaking small edges, because it's a lot harder actually to get into to transfer the force into your fingertips compared to your second bone or third bone or something like that, right? All right, guys. I think we're gonna keep it short probably today. We're gonna let Lattice have their live stream. I think they're still going. They're still going. Let's listen into Lattice, see what they talk about. And they have some sort of guest there as well, huh? Who I don't know. I don't know who that is, to be honest. Who they have there as a guest. Talking about deadlifts, man. Come on, what is this about? Is this about climbing training? I expect it because one of the most common questions that people actually have on YouTube when it comes to climbing training is how can they, these days at least, how can they take weights, how can they train at home by lifting weights for climbing, because nobody has climbing equipment at home, right? And they can't visit gyms because gyms are all closed. And now they're talking about deadlifts and stuff like that. Deadlifts do not at all contribute to climbing performance. Just to get that straight, don't deadlift if you want to be a strong climber. Deadlift if you want to be good at deadlifting or have a strong back or something like that. But if you wanted to train core of climbing, then calisthenics is a lot better way. And even calisthenics is only carries over into climbing performance only in a very, very limited fashion, I think. I'm from Hong Kong, and the majority of young people are trying to bring forth a good time, quote unquote. Yeah. Hong Kong is also a very interesting situation. Jackie Wong also says nothing can be changed at last because the power is in the hands of the bad. Well, the bad, we call it the bad, right? It's just not in our hands. Again, the good and bad is a relative thing. It's only natural for people in power to keep their power and even increase their power. We always want more power. This is a very, very natural human trait. David Hansa says, what are some finger strength benchmark required for having a chance for lead 8C? Well, if you can hang one-handed on a 23mm edge, for example, on something like the Middle Beastmaker 2000 edge, one-handed. If you can do a one-arm pull-up on that edge, you're definitely 8C, strong enough for 8C. If you can hang one-handed only, I think you're strong enough for 8C as well. Yeah. This is a good benchmark to look for when it comes to this kind of grade, I think. And the same thing, actually, I think is true for the 15mm, the side edges of the Beastmaker 2000. If you can hang, respectively, do a one-armor on these, I think you're actually ready for 9A. Yeah, so this is pretty, I think this is something to go for. Florian Millman says, hi Manny, I've heard one should put 1 week of complete resting into the training schedule. Would you recommend doing so? And if so, when and how can I put it into my training? Look, I would say that you should do at least 2 times 2 weeks of resting per year. Yeah, this is what I would go for. And this year I rested for 3 months straight when my daughter was born. And I'm back to 100%, definitely. Maybe I'm even back to 110%. Yeah. I think that finger strength wise, I was rarely ever so strong as I am now. Probably during the time when I was doing a lot of outdoor bouldering in Merkenstein and I was doing the Mission 8B thing. That's when I had the most finger strength divided by body weight, probably in my climbing career so far. And actually, I'm getting close to these numbers at the moment as we speak. Raw finger strength wise, I already surpassed it, but because I'm a lot heavier these days, I think that finger strength divided by body weight is still a little weaker than it was back in the day. Yeah. But I did 3 months of resting, like this, the end of this summer. And now I'm back into climbing like 2 to 3 months. And I'm back. Yeah. So there is nothing wrong with resting for a longer time, even multiple times during the year. It's probably very healthy, actually. You can use and exploit the comeback effect from that, ride the comeback wave, and actually use it to surpass a plateau that you've been sitting on before you actually rested. So that's definitely something significant that I am noticing myself now again. Yeah, the comeback wave is amazing. Riding it is amazing. If I could only have good outdoor conditions at the moment, it's always cold, always wet. So I can't really utilize the power outdoors. I can utilize it indoors on my home wall, luckily, because I can't use it otherwhere indoors because the climbing gyms are closed. That's a different problem. Yeah, but the weather needs to improve, man. The weather needs to get better. And once that's occurring, we're gonna crush the outdoors, man. Unless I get injured. I hope I don't get injured because, when you are stronger than ever before, there's always the chance that your, ligaments, tendons, joints say, okay, we have to first adapt to that. They increase inflammation, and then you get this kind of overusage symptoms, classy stuff. Yeah, I've been through that already before. So we're trying our best here. How can I put it into my training? Well, the best would be you train, okay? Increase your numbers. So you track your progress, obviously, with the training diary. You track your numbers, increase your numbers, you track them on the training diary. And when you notice that the numbers stall out, that you're plateauing, you either change your approach, yeah, and train something else, push those numbers instead, or you just take the fitness that you've gained through training, throw it at the outdoors, get some results, okay? Exchange that fitness with some results, get something for your training. And once you've kind of exchanged the fitness, get some results, whether that's competitions or an outdoor climbing trip or whatever you're into, really. Once that's done, you have to come back home, you have to work again, whatever. Then is the right time to do a longer break. Yeah, 1-2 weeks, and then start again. You're gonna start off a little weaker, obviously, than have been previous to your resting. But you're gonna ride the comeback wave, and you're gonna actually eventually probably break through that plateau that you've had before. Yeah. And this way you always push it a little further, a little further, a little further. And with these regular breaks like these, maybe this is also a key to avoid injury altogether. Yeah. I cannot 100% say that because I am a person who is actually quite convinced that injury is actually necessary to progress at some point if you haven't started with 5 years of age or 6 years of age. These guys, they don't go through injuries anymore because they did that when they were young, probably. But maybe this is also a good injury prevention strategy. Jackie Wong says, it seems like same situation happens across the globe at the moment for various topics. Absolutely true, yeah. Absolutely true. At the moment, what we see is that a number of problems seem to really consolidate as one, yeah. We see symptoms popping up everywhere of these problems nowadays, yeah. In the mentality of the people, in the propaganda of the mainstream media, what politicians propagandate and stuff like that. Propagate, I think, is the proper word. Florian Millman says, how many weeks of training for 1 week of complete resting? That's a good question. Okay, so let's assume one big rest, quote unquote, is 2 weeks of complete resting. Yeah, that's what I would go for. 1 week is actually not a lot. I wouldn't even call that a bigger rest. Maybe it's a bigger rest if you're 15 years old or younger. Yeah, but if you're mid 20s to late 20s, 2 weeks, that's a bigger rest. Yeah? And for a 2-week rest, I would climb like, let's say at least, or let's say between 4 to 5 months. Okay, 4 to 5 months. 4 to 5 months. So that means roughly 2 weeks of rest per year, right? Even more, actually. Yeah, if it's 4 months, you can actually fit 3 times these 2 weeks into your training year almost. And this actually is something along these lines. This is what I would call ideal from my experience, from my point of view. Can I say it 100% for sure? Of course not. Yeah, people are different. People need different amount of rests. Who knows, really? Yeah, depends on the person. But if I could choose, that's probably what I would go for. So is putting in resting times especially good for finger training, or is it just randomized? No, I think it's a good thing in general, yeah, for your whole body, not only for, or let's say you don't have to particularly do these kind of rests if you're only finger training, yeah. You climb in general, you do these rests. Sometimes do something else with your life, yeah, play the guitar, do snowboarding, whatever you were into apart from climbing, just to also free your mind, do something else, really. Just really quickly have to plug in my laptop here. So let's see. Jean Ramses says, I really have a problem. I can hang the 20 millimeter one hand and I climb 7B routes. But this new strength came during second lockdown, so I didn't try it out. Yeah, that's a problem, obviously. Yeah, I mean, a problem. Good on you that you can hang a 20 millimeter edge. I mean, 20 millimeter is a lot, not a lot, but it is smaller than the Middle Beastmaker 2000 edge. Yeah, just to get that straight. The Middle Beastmaker 2000 edge is 23 millimeters actually, and slightly in cut. Yeah, this is also something people tend to forget on this edge. It's a slightly in cut edge. This is actually a pretty good hold. Yeah. 20 millimeter and a completely flat edge with rounding, maybe even, is a lot worse than that, definitely. And if you can hang it one-handed and you only, quote unquote, climb 7B, you have strength-wise definitely enough on your hands to climb 8B. To put that into perspective, you need to go out and put that strength to use, learn how to use it. With the lockdowns, yeah, it's hard. It's obviously hard to do that. Try your best. Try your best. Scap says, when you find a pro with similar weight/height/ape, could you use his style as a guide for yourself? That's an interesting question. Yes, you could. If he climbs faster than you, more energy efficient, maybe he's more energy efficient with clipping quick draws and stuff like that, then there's definitely something to learn from that guy. However, we are not always equal, even if we are equal in terms of body morphology, but we are not always equal in the mind. This is, again, a reason why I admire Adam Ondra a lot when it comes to climbing, because he climbs a lot with his head. I think that Adam Ondra is not particularly genetic freak. He was, regarding body morphology, that is, okay. Regarding the mind, he actually is a genetic freak, but regarding body morphology, he was very, very good for climbing when he was 18 years old, 19, that sort of age, where he was really, really thin, extremely fast, super sharp, a climbing machine. These days, he's quite a lot bulkier, he's quite a lot heavier, and he has to struggle a little more already with the finger strength divided by body weight effect. When his body weight becomes higher, the finger strength divided by body weight factor obviously becomes lower, and it becomes weaker. So these days he has to climb with his head even more. He has to climb even faster, even more precisely, with even more technique. I was watching this when he was trying the Perfecto Mundo video series. Maybe you followed it as well. And the solution that he had on the crux move, on the crux boulder move, he can actually keep his legs, his feet on there for this move. Yeah, this is absolutely crucial for him. All the other ascents, the ascent, I think, from Alex Megos, Stefano Ghisolfi, and also Jakob Schubert, they just simply jumped for that pinch. So you get this quite a bad pocket there with the right hand, as far as I remember, and then you jump to this pinch, you swing your feet out, and simply hold that pinch. I suppose because Ondra is a lot taller than these guys, also he not only can step there and keep his feet at the wall, but he actually has to stand there and keep his feet at the wall, because he probably wouldn't be able to just simply pinch that pinch crazy strongly down like those other guys did, who are a lot lighter than him, also a lot shorter, but also a lot lighter, right? Finger strength divided by body weight wise, probably stronger than him. But yeah, that's his solution. And again, as I said, I have the feeling that nowadays he's not the ideal climber anymore, morphologically speaking, but because he still has this kind of sharp mind, he's still able to perform exceptionally well. And this is why I admire him. He not only does it with finger strength divided by body weight, he actually uses his head a lot. That's not saying that the other climbers do not use their heads or something. All these other dudes are climbing extremely well as well, obviously. That should be clear, yeah? But Ondra is really this kind of pinnacle when it comes to climbing efficiency, climbing fast, climbing technically well, climbing with a lot of flexibility as well. This is, when I hear these assets, I think about Adam Ondra when it comes to climbing. Yeah. So if a guy exhibits the same weight, height, and ape than you, but he's a lot faster and a lot more efficient, and maybe has even similar finger strength than you and gets higher results, well, then there's obviously stuff to learn from this guy. Yeah, try to mimic his technique, try to mimic his speed. MC the Bus, aka Milan, is back on the stream. What's up, man? We're having a little bit of a tough time today because the Lattice Boyz are streaming as well at this time. Have you ever trained 2 or 1 finger pockets specifically? No. Would you recommend? If you are training for a trip to the Frankenjora, I would recommend it. Otherwise, I wouldn't really put a lot of effort into it. It is actually a rather rare occasion out there, unless you're traveling into the specific areas. What are these areas? We've got Frankenjura, we've got Margalev. It's also very, very pockety. And then we've got, I think, what was it as well? Julia or stuff like that is also pockety, I think. I don't remember anymore. Seus, for example, is also very pockety. So if you're heading into those areas and you know it, well, then some pocket training can actually be beneficial. Other than that, I think for competitions, you don't need pockets at all. You need rather the big slopers and coordination for competitions. And when it comes to outdoors, yeah, again, as I said, if you're going into the areas, then do some pocket training. Scap says, do you have favorite books in general? In general, yeah, let me think, really. I really like Hermann Hesse stuff. That's the stuff that I read when I was in my late teens, right? I also liked the Tolkien trilogy, the Lord of the Rings. The books, of course, are a lot better than the movies, although the movies are pretty good as well, but the books are really, really good. What else is there? Ja, der Hermann Hesse stuff. Hermann Hesse, Nazis und Goldmund, der Steppenwolf, Siddhartha. Also, the Erzählungen of Hermann Hesse is amazing. Just the tales that he wrote, right? So good. And usually when you read Hesse, you get this kind of melancholic feeling. The guy is really he's a lot in his head, not very grounded. A lot in his head, a lot of very complicated and long sentences. Beautiful language, but long sentences. You have to concentrate all the time with what he writes. But in his Erzählungen, actually, in his smaller stories, he unpacks a kind of humor which is surprising sometimes. Yeah. So yeah, das Glasperlenspiel, also really good stuff. Yeah, a lot of Hesse books, really, it's good stuff. What else is there? I also read a little bit of Castaneda's work, Carlos Castaneda, the teachings of Don Juan and all that kind of stuff, which is kind of iffy. It's really a couple of people on trips on drugs, essentially. Sometimes, but then there is the journey to Ixtlan, die Reise nach Ixtlan, it's called in German, which was really interesting as well, which is the stuff that is rather apart from the hallucinogenic plants and stuff like that. This is really cool, because here he talks about death, he talks about dreaming, he talks about how to read nature and stuff like that. This is really, really good stuff as well. Something that seems to be somewhat practical for real life as well, if you're not a druggie. As you know, I am very, very opposed to drugs and drugs use. Yeah. So that's that. What else is there when it comes to reading? Let me think. Some good stuff. I really like, actually, the old classics, the Homer and Ilias and the Odyssey. This is amazing stuff too. And apart from that, obviously, I read a lot of stuff about nutrition, but that's not really, doesn't really fall into that category, I think. But yeah, I'm really interested into that stuff. I have the impression that I'm missing one more thing when it comes to reading, which was really good as well. Just seeing if I can find it in my bookshelf. Yeah, I'm also a fan, of just the Sachbuch, it's called in German. What's the name of Sachbuch in English? I have no idea. It's kind of things that explain stuff. For example, now we're reading the Search After the Lost Luck, or that's the direct translation, Die Suche nach dem verlorenen Glück, which is really a book about raising kids and stuff. For example, it's a really good book as well, I think, bringing up a couple of really, really good points when comparing how Indians in the jungle raise their kids, comparing to Western civilization, how we raise our kids, and trying to derive conclusions and lessons for why the people in the jungles, they are usually a lot happier, right? They live a lot simpler life, definitely, but they are a lot happier than we are. And why is that? And then they go into some surprising details. Actually, it's pretty interesting as well. Of course, recently Mona and I, we read a couple of books when it comes to raising kids and all that kind of stuff, simply because it affects us, because now we have a little one as well, right? So these are some really good books that I can recommend. Yeah, I also read stuff a lot about nutrition and stuff, but yeah. MC the Bus, aka Milan, says, do you listen to music? What music do you like? Man, I listen to always, when I get this question, I say I listen to anything that's good. Whether it is Snoop Dogg covering Riders on the Storm, good stuff. Well, is it the Police, Roxanne? Okay, Roxanne, this is good stuff. Okay, there is simply good music and then there is bad music out there. They are coming from all genres. What is there as well? Dancing in the Moonlight, okay, the original tune. What is there as well? Really from all genres. I also listen to some classic, although I'm not such a particular fan of classic because it's classic. Not everything that's classic is actually good, and vice versa. I really love Paco de Lucia when it comes to guitar playing, flamenco. Yeah, this is just beautiful stuff. Um, Avishai Cohen when it comes to jazz. Yeah, this is amazing stuff, man. Yeah, again, from all genres, really, as long as it's good, I like it. Jackie Wong says, do you prefer wire or solid gates for your quick draws? Does the weight matter for you? Well, there's wire gates, which are wire gate draws, which are actually quite a lot heavier than solid gate draws. I have myself only solid gate draws. Why? Because I bought a lot of petrol spirits at some point, and since then I'm basically using them, yeah, almost exclusively. So that's why I have solid gates. I think it's also a little bit more practical because when you get the draws off your route, they don't cling to the bolts that much, right? Scab says, interesting. Tolkien, Hesse, and the Spanish sounding name. Got it. That's another thing. Of course, Nietzsche. Yeah, Nietzsche is also a good read. Some of it, at least. Yeah, very good read actually. Nietzsche. Yeah, the Hesse thing and the Spanish sounding name is Carlos Castaneda. Carlos Castaneda. But not everything is good from Carlos Castaneda. Okay. What I would recommend the most is the Journey to Ixtlan. I don't know how it's called in English. It's called Die Reise nach Ixtlan in German. And this is actually cool stuff. I mean, I'm the kind of guy who likes that kind of stuff. It's a little weird and a little into the esoteric corner of things, but it's cool. I liked it. Arlasetu is back on the stream. What's up, man? How are you doing? It's crazy that we keep a stream going here with 11 people, but yeah. I just built a small 7-rung campus board at home because of the new lockdown. What do you think about the usefulness of campus boarding? Also, do you think 25 rungs with shorter moves or 25 millimeter rungs with shorter moves or 35 millimeter rungs with longer moves is best? I would rather make the rungs as bad as possible. Yeah, at least so bad so that you can't get more than your fingertip on it. Why? If you have bigger rungs than that, which also go into your over this knuckle essentially towards your second, your second bone of your finger, then you will get into skin issues. You will always get this annoying callus there, which tends to flap off at some point if you do harder moves, if rungs get this big. So rungs need to be at least so bad. And if you're comparing here 25 to 35 millimeter, I would definitely go with the 25. 35 already sounds pretty big, 35 millimeter, yeah. I would recommend the 25 rungs and maybe do the distances a little shorter so that you can still use them. But this way you avoid these skin issues. And also, it's probably a lot more effective when it comes to training to make the holds smaller instead of the distances bigger and the holds bigger. Because in the end, what we want is performance on small holds. Yeah. Even if moves are not that big, small holds. And when it's getting really hard, then you have big moves on small holds, right? So that's what we want to accustom ourselves to. Go with the small holds right away. That's my recommendation here. In general, the usefulness of campus boarding is pretty significant, I would say, especially if you have not access to anything else. If you can't do, let's say if you only have campus boarding and outdoor climbing, then campus boarding is an amazing addition to complement your training with the outdoor climbing. As long as you have outdoor climbing, you're really just fine, in fact, if you can get enough of that in. And anything adding to that is a good thing. For example, if you can add hangboarding to that, amazing. If you can add campus boarding to that, amazing. If you don't have outdoor climbing, which is ironically the case for me at the moment, more or less, because the weather is so bad. Yeah, it's not even because of the lockdown, but it's because of the weather is so bad. Then you need to have some sort of indoor climbing to compensate for that. Because if you have, for example, only hangboarding indoors, I feel that only hangboarding without any climbing at all doesn't really help you a lot in progressing. Yeah, you need to have some sort of climbing, which is why I have the home wall now in my home. Yeah, because that enables me, and even if it's only very few moves, 2-3 very hard moves, it's still climbing moves, and this way my body kind of remembers that sort of movement, and this is already amazing. Yeah, home wall training and a short hangboard session afterwards. This is amazing. This is just amazing in terms of training as an outdoor session, and even more amazing, maybe. Who knows? Yeah. But the thing is, I can't really do any lasting results on the home wall, because if I reset the home wall, these boulders are gone, right? I want to do something that's lasting, and therefore I have to hit the outdoors, and therefore I have to wait until the weather is getting good again. Scab says, Sachbuch sollte einfach Non-Fiction sein, denke ich. That's a possibility. Yeah, that's a possibility. Non-fiction. I like non-fiction stuff about nutrition. And what was the other topic about? Actually, I also like cooking books. Yeah, I've got a couple of cooking books. Yeah, and child raising. Child raising was the other non-fiction topic. Another sip here from the Paulana Maas. Today we are rocking a truly royal live stream receptacle. All right, my friends. Any more questions? Again, I have no problem with cutting it short today, because it's quite a cozy 4th Advent here, and then we are spending the time with the family. Also, I still need to timestamp the previous 2 live streams. Can you believe it? I'm such a lazy dude. No, in fact, I just worked a lot these days for videos for the main channel. That's why I was a little bit slack on timestamping the previous live streams. So let's see what the Lattice dudes are talking about.
I'd say squats, overhead squats personally is better for me. It opens up the shoulders. It means that the weight will be lighter. But generally, we don't need a huge amount of weight going through our quads. We just need to make sure.
Talking about squats and stuff like that. What has that to do with climbing?
If your left side is getting the gym,
okay, the guy is Luke Sherlock, the guest they have. Who is Luke Sherlock? I don't know.
So I think that means that it kind of spreads out. I really don't think more than twice a week is needed in the gym or doing weights for most people in climbing.
They're saying 2 times a week lifting weights for climbing. You don't need to lift any weights for climbing, man. Lifting weights for climbing is, I don't know, I wouldn't say it's a waste of time, because nothing is a waste of time really, but it only makes you bigger in areas that you actually want to have smaller, right? And lighter. Scap says, dann genießt den 4. Advent mit deiner Familie. Thanks, man. We will. Have you ever had an elbow tendonitis? Yes, I had. I had a golfer elbow for the longest time in my left elbow. Like, I don't know, 3-4 years or something for sure. Yeah, now it's actually pretty gone. Haven't felt it in months. I don't want to spoil anything here, but that's how it is. So again, these things take time. Climb them away. Stay below pain threshold. Always the same lessons here. Yeah. Guess I gotta sacrifice the rung from my bed, which are for 24 millimeters. because the hardware stores are locked down too. Yeah, that's annoying. That's why I hurried up with my wall so much. Did you keep climbing? Yes, I did keep climbing with my elbow tendonitis. Actually, almost at my limit. It was not that severe, luckily. So yeah, I still could roll with it to some degree. Would I recommend it? As usual, I would recommend to stay below pain threshold. With elbow tendonitis, it's usually something that you don't really feel it, I think, during the climbing, unless you do some crazy lock-offs or stuff like that, or gastons. You rather feel it after the climbing. So it's a little bit hard to feel out the intensity that you still can allow yourself without pushing the elbow tendonitis further into bad stuff, right? So it's hard to feel it out, but yeah, stay below your pain threshold as much as possible and try to climb it away. Keep it active. Don't rest completely. Yeah. Apart from like 1 week occasionally, yeah, to have a longer rest, maybe 2 weeks, just like I told you before. These things are possible, but don't go for a 3-month break because of your elbow tendonitis, because the elbow tendonitis will come back after 3 months anyway for the most people, and possibly even more severe than before. You need to keep up the stimulus so that these tissues can adapt to it, right? Same tips that I always give when it comes to injuries. Thanks a million. In my case, it's also not very severe, but it scares me a lot. No, man, it doesn't have to scare you particularly. You have it in your hands to not make it worse. Yeah, so don't make it worse. Keep climbing. Keep below pain threshold. Blah 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 blah. Yeah, usual stuff. All right, guys. It is now time, my friends, to wish you a beautiful Christmas. Yeah, have a very nice Christmas. We are probably going to go into a little live stream break next Sunday because we're gonna keep it chill a little bit more next week, in the sense of the whole celebrations, right, with Christmas and stuff. I'm gonna keep it a little bit more quiet, and I'm gonna probably see you again in 2 weeks. Yeah, you should see no live stream announcement popping up next Sunday. So just to let you know that right now already, because you were so diligent and watched this live stream to the end, you will actually know. So that's that. I wish you a very Merry Christmas, despite all the crazy circumstances with your family and your loved ones. Have a nice one. And I think I'm now gonna relax a little bit as well and let this evening come to a silent end. That's gonna be awesome. My friends, stay strong, and I'll see you soon in the next one. Bye.